Joe's Inner Child Podcast.
Welcome back. Today's episode is with Henry Bonsu, who's the creator of Lazor Wulf, which was originally a webcomic and is now an Adult Swim cartoon, with a diverse cast of rappers and wrestlers such as Vince Staples, Big E, and the rest of the New Day. Carl Jones also contributes to the show, and Henry goes into what it's like working with him, and we talk a little bit about the Boondocks and how that carries over. It's an awesome time, so enjoy.
Literary Joe's Inner Child Podcast.
Your writing credits are on like almost every episode as far as season 1 goes, but I noticed that the team of writers kind of shifts with you as the episodes go on. It's usually you and someone else, at least the way it's credited on IMDb and Wikipedia. Do you feel like the other writers are each attributed to certain types of comedy that you're trying to bring to an episode, or is it kind of just split up and you guys go from there?
Well, I think we all, the writers sit in the room, and we all put in to a pot of what the season's going to be, and then I think writers have their pick on what episodes that they really feel strongly about. I think with season 1, it was such its own thing, and coming to you have your understanding of the world and all, but at the same time, the writers are here to help you make it make sense beyond you. So in a sense, I'm still also having to help them understand what I'm trying to see. Whereas the co-writing aspect of season 1 came along. And I think even with season 2, a lot of the writers, it's more standalone in regards to Ellington Wells wrote this episode, Sarah Ballardini, Quinta Brunson, and Judnick Maynard, and Carl Jones, and me. So,
Got you.
Yeah, it was just more so helping folks, guiding folks.
So with season 2 coming out, I think that's December 6th. What is the biggest difference you think between season 2 for fans that have watched season 1? What do you think the biggest thing that they're not expecting might take them off their feet?
It's so hard to say that not expecting part, because I feel like we definitely try to hit on that every episode. It's something you're just not seeing coming in a fun way or just a weird way. I didn't see this coming, but I think, we're walking more in that direction. I think there is more of an understanding of the characters. I can't say a full understanding of the world, maybe more questions about the world they inhabit, which is a good thing. Want more questions. I think we answer things, but with the answering, we open more questions, which I think is a major theme too of the show. I was you're never fully getting an answer to something without it opening.
I like that perspective. I really like some of the jokes. I think my favorite one is the favorite cereal is Puffy Combs. But I want to know, with Adult Swim as the medium, what is the line? Are there any times where you're writing and they're whoever goes over your stuff is that's a little too far? Or are you guys able to pretty much say whatever you want?
I think we kind of, speaking for my show, I feel like we get to say whatever we want. It's more so, I think it's funny because I do think you do get to say what you want. It's more so figuring out the way to design what you want to say, what you want. You know what I mean? It's the same way you have to design a character. It's you do have to design these words this story to make sense. And under the banner of Lazor Wulf, the banner of the show, we've built hopefully what folks see as our own little world. So our takes on it are within that own world and don't have a hindrance on reality. It shouldn't. So
definitely. Yeah. And I love obviously with Carl Jones working on it, it's a lot of people compare it to the Boondocks, obviously, because his work carries over. But I'm wondering, did you guys already produce or create all of season 2? Is it still 10 full episodes, and are they all already created?
Yeah, the season 2 is done. Season 2 is done. It's 10 episodes. Yeah, and I think Carl wrote on this season 2. He wrote episode, I think, what would be episode 1? Yeah, episode 1, I think. But yeah, like, and he also comes back to voice Mayor Webb again for us. But yeah, it's a fun time.
I like how unique the cast is, the collection of cast members, voice cast members. You have rappers and you have, well, I know you collab with rappers on this too. You have rappers and you have wrestlers. Are these people that you had in like your social circle before you got in this project?
No. I mean, I'm not that cool. Like, I mean, let me just put that out there. I'm not that cool. Like, it'd be cool to say yes, but I mean, I got to meet these folks too, having a cartoon. So if you want to meet some wrestlers and rappers and some cool ass writers and like, you know, cool, amazing actors and actresses, like, have a cartoon, make a cartoon, just go and make them. But yeah, no, like, these are all people that, like, you know, were on the wish list and folks that I felt like these, you know, I mean, it's funny because, like, I think we have Vince and Shelly, who are, you know, I guess, you know, I would say Shelly is, to me, like, you know, both singer and rapper, and Vince is primarily rapper. But yeah, they're the 2 musicians we have, and obviously Biggie being the wrestler.
Right.
But it's like, yeah, it's
one
funny.
New Day. Don't you have the whole?
Yeah, this season we have like all of the New Day in this one episode, which is pretty cool, and I hope folks enjoy. I hope folks really enjoy it. I think I really enjoyed that episode, and it was kind of like still like very happy to have been able to work with those guys.
Yeah, my buddy hosts a wrestling podcast, and he was talking about how excited they were for the New Day coming up. So I think people are really going to dig that.
I hope so.
I'm curious, what is a question that I know you've been probably doing so many interviews, and you get a lot of questions over and over again. You try to answer them different ways, but what's something that you want to get asked that nobody ever asks you, or something that you feel like you go into interviews expecting to, you know, answer, but people just avoid or don't ever touch on?
I mean, honestly, I think anything in regards to anything that gives me the opportunity to speak to the writers and the artists behind the scenes is some of my favorite stuff, because I feel like, you know, a lot of the writers are the voice actors too, you know, like for the show. And I feel like, you know, they're like very talented and funny people. They're some of the funniest people that, you know, I've ever gotten to meet and work with, and their minds are just different in the best way, where I think, like, you know, all these people, I just see them creating shows and working on shows forever and ever. And the same with, like, you know, the artists, like from the board artist to like the board director, art director, and animation director. It's like such a cool team of people to work with that, like, you know, obviously it's like, yes, it's created by Henry, and you do steer the ship, but in a way, like, so much of it is a collaborative process. Like, every aspect of it, even like after the art is done, like the promo aspect is like a collaborative process, and and that part is really enjoyable. You get to you get to know people a little bit more, like how they see this idea that you pitch and how they would run with it. In a way, it's not necessarily like about just saying no to it. It's more so like, how do I design this so we meet in the middle here? And that's kind of what Lazor Wulf has become, like a meeting in the middle. Because regardless, it's like we're meeting in the middle, and it might be a compromise. It is a compromise, I hope, but that compromise is going to look very different regardless of what you've seen on TV, I hope.
Yeah, and I love that. I've been binging season 1 since I knew we were going to talk. I love how natural the conversation feels. So I like that you brought up that some of the writers do voices, and I know you do some of the voices too, but how much of it is scripted versus how much of it is just kind of shot back and forth on the spot? Because I know that a lot of the people in there have comedy in their bones. So I'm curious, like, how much is scripted and then how much is deviated away basically just by everybody having fun?
Both. But like, here's the thing. It's like we definitely have like the writers the writers, if you were to interview any of them, they know how, they are masters of conversation. Like they know how a conversation should work. They know how it should be structured. Quint is a, comedian and an actress, and just, she understands conversation. Judnick is a writer and also at this point voice actress. So like Ellington is a comedian. Sarah, Sarah's also done comedy and written. So it's like, and Carl Jones, obviously, like in the writer's room, it's like this, like it's conversations. Like, we spend a lot more time just talking, about anything really. And I think like, I love conversation and I love the awkwardness of a conversation. I love like someone saying a word you didn't hear and someone going like, huh, what did you say? Like, and that not having any influence on the story is just how you talk. I might mumble a word and I'm like, you're like, what did you say? Or I'm talking and you cut me off to say your next line. Mm-hmm. And it's not even mentioned again because that's how a group of people talk, right. And someone deciding to say a word wrong and continuing talking and no one acknowledges it. Those little aspects of conversation feel like what I like to experiment with in Lazor Wulf. And a lot of times, like someone might stumble in a recording booth and I want to roll with that because that's just funnier.
Yeah.
That'd be funnier to me than like them getting the word right. Like it's another layer to this, like people asking why did he decide to keep that take? And it's like, it worked, like even though
and the delivery is more genuine that way. I feel like Adult Swim has now, a lot of Adult Swim stuff has kind of embraced that. I feel like since Rick and Morty and a lot of the newer stuff, but I do like that Lazor Wulf, it represents a diverse audience that hasn't really been served since Boondocks hasn't been on the air. What do you think the hardest thing is to bring your specific perspective to the station?
I mean, I guess not to speak on the hardest part because like the show's out. You know what I mean? It was like, to me, it's like the hardest part would be like, man, I'm still trying to get the show out. Still trying. So it's like that idea of like, it's like folks like you, like folks who would take the time to check it out. I would say like is what's more important. Like check it out, give it a shot. It's 10 episodes, it's 11 minutes. And it's probably going to be like 2.5 hours. You could watch it all. Like, you know what I mean? You could watch it all and take it in. And you could go back and see little things you might have missed or like things that you want clarity on. And all the little scratches and like in the dialogue and all that stuff. It's like, it's just meant to like fill out and flesh out this hopefully new world that like, regardless of who you are or how you feel, like you can be comfortable chilling and hopefully like, it makes you feel like it's an Adult Swim property, but at the same time, it's like, it makes you feel like it's a new Adult Swim property too. Like it's its own Adult Swim. So it's like, yeah, you're trying to scratch off all these things, but at the same time too, yeah, it's like, I grew up, I love the Boondocks and getting to work with Carl Jones is awesome. And like, still kind of like, wow. And
yeah,
love Aaron, I read the comics in the newspaper. So it's one of those things where I'm hoping someone just like me when I was younger could come to the show and like, have fun with it and like, follow more of the show, but also like what these artists and these writers make beyond that too. And like, that ushers them into this, that ushers them into like either enjoying it or making something, all of it.
If there's anything else you need to plug, any other projects or any social media or anything you want your audience to check out?
I would say the primary thing is like, check out Lazor Wulf. It comes out December 6th, Sunday, 12 o'clock, and to Adult Swim, and I think HBO Max. But I hope, they enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for interviewing me, too.
Literary Joe's Inner Child Podcast.
Thank you for listening. We appreciate your support, and we'd love to hear from you. So make sure to follow us and hit us up on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Literary Joe. You can also find Lexi at Darth Lexi with 2 I's, and you can find Nick at Comic Brooks. For those avid readers out there, be sure to check out the articles on comicbookmovie.com for the written transcript and other cool images. Thanks again.
Joe's Inner Child Podcast.